Hey guys, I'm Dave.
And I'm Len.
And today we played 1960, The Making of the President from Z-Man Games. It's an Influence Cube game, kind of reminds me of, well, all Influence games are based on Twilight Struggle, but it reminds me of like Votes for Women and all those type of games. As far as an Influence game, Cube game, I'd say it's one of the better ones. Which is no surprise because Z-Man Games, it seems like, I think I've played about 4 games from them and all 4 of them were good, so it seems like they're a good outfit there. Yeah, basically what's going on is you're trying to get the most electoral votes and you're placing influence cubes on the board to try and get the most influence in the state and so on and so forth. At the end of the game, you add up the electoral votes. There's other stuff going on in the game, like there's a debate phase, which I think was on turn 6, where you're using like totally different rules just for that turn. I know you said you didn't particularly like that turn, but
it seemed like you had to learn a whole new game.
Yeah.
And if you weren't prepared, there's a certain criteria you have to prepare for the debates. And if you don't do that, you lose.
And then as far as the cards play like Twilight Struggle, where they have either campaign. You can use the campaign points, or you can use the event on it. If you use the campaign points, you can use them to put media influence out, or put influence cubes on the states, and so on and so forth. And what else was I going to say? Yeah, so if you play them for the campaign points, then the opponent can trigger the event on the card using one of his momentum markers if he wants. It depends. He'll read it, and then if it sounds like something that's going to screw over his enemy, then he's probably going to do it. But yeah, it's basically Twilight Struggle, pretty much the game, just with some nuances to make it work for the 1960 presidential campaign between Nixon and John F. Kennedy. But as far as components were good too, as they always are with Z-Man games. But what did you think of the game? I mean, you're not the biggest influence cube game player there is, so what did you think of it?
I think it went pretty smoothly. I have no idea how the game is supposed to be played, so I was running. I forgot about if you play Momentum, you could do the cards, but I'd screw you up. But I totally forgot. But that was I remember to me, there was a lot of strategy, which states to fight for, because you notice that I never fought for Florida because they only had 10 votes, electoral points. And I think, I thought that I was going to win because I got Ohio when you weren't looking, and that's 25.
Well, you had a lot of the big states like New York, Illinois, and a few other, Texas,
Ohio, and it's strange at the end. I just realized I forgot about Pennsylvania. That's another big one, and I should have spent my last couple turns fighting for Pennsylvania.
So what was the final score? I won by what, 37 points or something?
Yeah. 280, 240.
Something like that, yeah. But here's the deal. California, I think, was worth like 32 points. So essentially, if I didn't control California, I would have lost the game. So
yeah.
So it's like real life, where California, the electoral votes are very powerful in an election. If you don't get California's electoral votes, it makes it a lot harder to win.
Yeah, because you put 4 influence cubes on California real quick, and you held on. Of course, you held on for California. I held on for New York. So, and then built out New York, and then I got Illinois real quick.
But Nixon won this game, and he won most of the states you would assume he would win. And then as far as Kennedy, he won a lot of the states you assumed he would win. So, yeah, Kennedy didn't do so good on the West Coast, whereas Nixon didn't do so good in the Midwest.
Yeah, because I really didn't fight that much for the West Coast, or the Western countries.
Yeah, also in this game, part of the strategy is, since the different states have different electoral votes, it's very, very tempting to like go and place cubes into a state that only has like 4 electoral votes because there's no cubes already there. But really, if you're doing that, going after all the small states, you're going to lose the game. You got to kind of ignore those and only take them when you got nothing else you can do. You know what I mean?
And also, there's At times, it's a choice between playing the cubes or playing the card. Sometimes the cards have real good things going on for your candidate.
Yeah, yep. And then there's also some interesting mechanics where, what's it called on the board? Hold on, let me look on the board. I forget what the name is. Yeah, there's a rest area, and there's on the cards it'll say when you use the card it'll say yeah you place rest cubes. The only time you don't place rest cubes is if the card says don't place rest cubes, or if you're playing the event off someone else's card. But then the rest cubes get put in the bag at the end of the turn, and you draw from the bag to determine initiative and stuff. So if you have more of your cubes in the bag than the other guy, you're probably going to win the initiative. And if there's a state that has 4 cubes in it, and you're and you want to put some cubes there and you don't have media control, then you have to pull them out of the bag to see if you get enough of your color to make an effect on that space. If you draw, like, if you're red and you draw some red ones, and let's say you draw 2 red ones and the guy has 3 blue ones on the space, then you'll just remove 2 of his blue cubes, because a space can only have 1 color. So if you place your color down, then you just remove one of the other guy's ones. But yeah, kind of an interesting game.
So,
but would you recommend it?
yeah, if you're into this kind of like nonviolent conflict, you'll like this.
Yeah.
I said there are many choices on strategy. And because I'm thinking to myself, I should have done this instead of that, or that instead of this. And I definitely, there's high replayability in this. So if you like it once, you'll like it the other time.
Yeah. And there's a learning curve to it, too. I mean, the first time you play the game, you're going to learn quite a bit. And then at the end of the game, you're like, well, if I had played this a few more times, I would have done this differently or that differently. But
yeah, I forget about the momentum things. I just playing other things instead.
Yeah, but I recommend it, too. If you like Twilight Struggle or Votes for Women or any of those type of games, I think you'll like this game, too. I'd say this one's a little bit better than Votes for Women.
Well, actually, I think it's a more interesting subject because this was, in real life, this was a close presidential race.
Yeah, it was, and Nixon basically lost because he chose not to wear makeup when they had the television debate, and he looked like a corpse on the black and white television, whereas John F. Kennedy had makeup on, so he didn't look as ridiculous as Nixon did on the TV.
But the people listening on the radio thought Nixon had won because he presented a more intelligent case.
Gotcha.
He presented himself better. So.
All right, that's all we got, guys. We'll have a new game for you next week. Not sure what yet. I got so many games at home I got to try, but we'll try something new. Have a good one.
You too.